So we looked at yesterday we looked at noise in resistors, noise in MOSFETs, triode region and saturation region. We looked at the flicker noise, the thermal noise and the gate noise. Okay. So now just two more points which I wanted to make about noise. One thing is, be careful about this. So let's say this is your noise part spectral density. Okay, you have to be careful about this is the two-sided spectrum. Quite often you also use the one-sided spectrum, okay, which is just this guy folded over to the positive frequencies. So when you work with graphical analysis, you tend to use two-sided spectra. Okay, when you use circuit level calculations, you end up doing using just single side. To give you an example, the is 2 kTr, the noise of a resistor, if you consider negative frequencies. But typically in circuit calculations, we tend to use 4 kTr. Okay, so we just tend to look at the negative frequencies because we never calculate with negative frequencies. Okay, so to get the right noise numbers, you tend to use folded over spectrum. Okay, that is one thing. So that's number one. Number two, there was a question yesterday about the series to parallel conversion we did from parallel to series. Now it is fairly broadband, it is not necessarily narrow band, but the one thing to remember is we did make one assumption, which is was it 1 over Gg? Right, we assume that this is approximately, okay, and remember that Q is a function of frequency. So it is not as bad as just taking single values, because Q may end up being larger than 1 over a wide range of frequencies. So it's not necessarily narrow band, but it is definitely not valid at all frequencies. Okay. And the third one was flicker noise. Okay, so we looked at the part spectral density of flicker noise. Right? So of course we noted a number of things, but one thing to note is, so if you have NMOSes versus PMOSes, quite often you will see that the K value for PMOSes is lower than that for NMOS for some specific device reason, some process reason, buried channel, that's right. Okay, so what you'll find is, several processes you'll find that PMOS transistors have lower flicker noise than NMOS transistors, but that is something which is very process dependent. I have given you the circuit model, you can go test it for yourself. You can take a transistor of a particular size, PMOS and NMOS of the exact same size, bias it at the exact same current, see which one has lower noise. Okay, it might be true for this process, I don't know. Okay, that's something for you to find out. Okay, now the other thing is we also wrote it in a slightly different form. Okay, so another thing to note is that obviously it's proportional to omega t squared. So when you go to faster and faster processes, the flicker noise usually tends to get worse. Okay, and of course you also know that GMP is, well, less than GMN. So if you have to choose, so let's say you're deciding to you're starting to design a circuit, For most circuits, you have the choice of designing an NMOS circuit or a PMOS circuit. Let's say you're designing an amplifier, an LNA, okay, or an oscillator. You have a choice of designing it with completely PMOSs, completely the NMOSs, maybe mixed NMOS, PMOS. So all those things, you know, these two things will go into that particular decision. Okay, there are cases where I have seen cases where you don't want to use NMOS mainly because of this noise. PMOS, let's say in the case of oscillators, for example, in some processes, not in all, in some processes, PMOS oscillators tend to be better than NMOS oscillators. Okay, in other cases, in the case of LNA, you may or may not be worried too much about flicker noise, so you may tend to use just NMOS all the time. So that is up to you. So you will have to evaluate it when your project is LNA project will be announced next week. So you can evaluate it. So you can compare GM, compare flicker noise, compare thermal noise for both transistors, and decide for yourself which circuit you want to use. Okay. Okay. So let's go to today's class. So we are going to look at two-port noise theory. Okay, so let's take a noisy two-port. Okay, and a noisy source. We are going to assume that the source is noisy also. So you can show that in general this can be written so what you can do is you can extract two noise parameters from the two-port. Okay, to represent the noise of the two-port at its input. Okay, one is a noise voltage, other is a noise current, and this two-port is noiseless. Okay, so the reason you need two of these is because you want to consider it needs to be valid obviously for all impedances and all sources and all loads and everything. And a simple case to see is, for example, if you look at short and open circuits at the input, right? Obviously, if you use a short circuit at the input, there is no source, then all the noise current flows out, but the noise voltage produces an output. Okay? And if you consider an open circuit, the noise voltage does not produce any noise, but the noise current does produce some noise. So you want it to be valid across all range of impedances. Okay? And the other thing you should know. Yes. Yes. We'll see. So what we'll do is that's what we're going to calculate. We're going to assume a very general case, okay, completely general case where input has some noise and the two-port has some En and some In, and we're going to calculate the noise of the two-port in some way, in a particular fashion which is useful for us. Okay. In general, En and In can be correlated. Okay. Okay. Now before that, we are also going to talk about something called noise factor. Has anybody heard this term before? Noise factor. So it's represented by F. So it is the ratio of the total output noise power, okay, over output noise power due to source alone. Okay. So what does this mean? So if you take the output noise power due to source alone, you are neglecting En and In. Okay, you're just taking the transfer function of your two port from input to output, and the total output noise power considers both the source and the noise from the two port. So what does this represent? This represent in some fashion the amount of noise added by the two port. Is that clear? Okay. Yes. So what we are going to do is, so the total output noise power is due to, you have noise in IS, noise in IN, noise in EN. Okay. The denominator neglects EN and IN and considers the noise at the output only due to IS. Is that clear to everybody? Okay. So in some sense you are trying to measure the degradation in SNR. Okay. So now let's see what, redraw it slightly. So we'll just redraw it with the input impedance of the two port. So now we are no longer, at this point of time we are not interested in the signal itself, so we'll represent IS as the noise current source of the noise current of the source. And this is your two port, and Yn is the input admittance of the two port. Okay. What is the current flowing into the two port? The total noise current. So you can consider each one of these separately, okay, and you can arrive at a conclusion. So let's first do this. Is equals Is times Yn over Yn plus Ys. That is the current from Is plus, now you have In plus times okay. Remember, you want to keep these two terms together because there is some correlation between the two. You don't want to separate them out as of now. We will separate them out a little bit later. Okay. And of course, we are implicitly assuming that Is is not correlated with En or In. Okay. So what is F? So Is squared plus, In why I keep doing this. Okay, so total output power, output noise power over noise power due to source alone. Why do you consider the same term? They are different sources, but they are correlated, which is why you need this. You can't separate them out. Yeah, that's mod. Is that clear? Okay. So now what we are going to do is, we are going to split In, okay, into two terms. So In, we'll write it as IU plus IC. Okay. IU is the portion of the current noise which is uncorrelated with En. Okay. And IC is the portion which is completely correlated with En. So and then we are going to write, we know that IC is completely correlated with VN, so we are also going to write it in terms of some impedance YC. Okay, once it's correlated, you can write it in this form. And YC is called the correlation admittance. Okay. So now we are just going to rewrite this. We are going to write IN as IU plus IC in this equation. Okay. And so IU is written separately, and we know IC is nothing but YC times EN. So you can write it as this. Okay, is that clear? Okay. Now, what do we know about these two terms? Once you have split the current into correlated and uncorrelated, we know that IU is totally uncorrelated with EN. So now you can separate the modulus, separate the terms inside the modulus. Is that clear? Oops, let me write it on the next page. It's easier. Okay. Actually, we should use a modulus because it's okay. Now we are going to define some impedances. We are going to define Rn, Gu, and Gs. Okay. What is Rn? Oops, sorry. So Rn is a fictitious impedance, okay, which produces the same noise as that produced by En. Okay. Similarly, Gu is Iu over 4 kT delta F. Sorry, this should all be squared. Okay, and Gs stands for the is Is squared over 4 kT delta F. Okay, is that clear to everyone? So we are just representing each one of these noise sources by some impedance. Okay, so now we can write F in terms of these impedances. Okay, of course 4 kT delta F is a common term for all of these. So Iu squared is going to have a Gu term. Is that clear? Okay. So now, obviously, okay. So Rn, Gu, Gs are all real, but Yc and Ys in general maybe may have a real part and an imaginary part. Okay, they are just admittances. Okay. So we are going to write Yc equals Gc plus Jbc. Is that clear to everyone? Okay. So now let's put this back into the expression for F. Okay, what is mod of yc plus ys whole squared? Now you can write it without, you know, you can remove the modulus and write it as gc plus gs whole squared plus over gs. Is that clear? Okay, so what you see is, if you have any two port, any noisy two port, its noise can be characterized by 4 parameters. What are they? GU, GC, BC and RN. Okay, obviously GS and BS come from the source. It's not part of this two port. Yes.
The GSC defined is out of the noise, and after that you are splitting YS, the same GS.
No, it is the same GS. So it is this GS which produces noise for the source. Yeah, the real part of it is what produces noise. The real part of the source is what produces the noise of the source, right? So it is the same GS. Okay, so now what do we want to do? We want to, typically in any circuit, we want to minimize noise. Okay, so let's run a minimization this thing on us, right? So let's look at the minimum of this function. So you have written f in terms of these functions. Okay, so now how are we going to optimize it? What can you do? Okay, so let's go back to the two port. Okay, where is this? Let's go back to this two port. What can you do to this two port to minimize noise? Obviously you don't want to change, you can't change the two port, okay, and the source itself cannot be changed, IS and YS themselves cannot be changed, but what you can do is find out conditions for how you would connect these two. Okay, you can, for example, for maximum power transfer we found out that you can put an impedance matching circuit which converts the impedance. Okay, in this case we are going to find what we can do to the source impedance, okay, to match it for optimum noise. Is that clear? Okay. Let's first apply this condition. Let's find out the imaginary part. So obviously all of these are 0. Sorry. Okay, so what does this mean? Okay, so we want to find out BS, right? This is your optimum B. Okay, so if you start off with the susceptance BS of the source, you want to convert it to a susceptance which is minus of BC, which is similar to what you do for maximum power transfer. Okay, so that is similar. Okay, so let's do the second one. We'll do dou F over dou GS equals 0. So what does this give you? Okay, so obviously the first two terms are gone. This is 2 into GC plus GS over GS, okay, plus, or okay, in this case, now we are going to differentiate the denominator, so you will get minus 1 over GS squared and actually you have the GU term also. Okay. And if you do this, what this gives you is GS squared is GU over Rn plus GC squared. Very easy to come, just multiply and multiply by GS squared over Rn throughout. Okay, you'll get this it's a very straightforward calculation. Okay, so GS is root of this is your G optimum. Okay, so what does this mean? So if you convert your source impedance to G opt and B opt, that means that your F, which is your noise factor, will be minimum, right? So let's try sticking these back into F and find out what F min is. So you have 1 plus so GC plus G opt whole squared plus actually this is also G opt. Okay, so what do you know about this? This is of course 0, that's your one of your conditions. Okay, so let's also plug in one more condition, which is for GU. So we know that GU is from this, right? What is GU? It's G opt square minus GC squared over Rn, sorry, times Rn. Okay, so we know this. You'll see if you'll find that you can come up with a very simple form for this. You can plug that back in there. Actually 1 plus, sorry. G opt square Rn minus GC square Rn, okay, plus let's expand this out, so Rn plus 2 G opt Rn plus G opt. So these two terms cancel each other out. Okay, and then you can combine terms to simplify this a little bit further. So obviously you can cancel out this also, G opt with this G opt, the square and the square. Okay, what does this leave you with? 1 plus Rn is a common term to all of them, right? Rn times 2GC plus 2G opt, right? Okay, so in other words, it is 1 plus 2 Rn okay, so this is the expression for F min for the 2 pole. Okay. So we've basically written it in terms of those 4 parameters which we wanted to. Okay. Rn, Gc, Gu. Those are the important ones. Okay. So now let's try to rewrite it slightly differently also. The general f in terms of f min. Okay. Now that we found out f min, we'll find that f for any general case can be written in terms of this f min. Okay. Okay. So what did we know? So let's move to the next section. So this is okay. We know this. We know that G opt squared is Gu over Rn plus Gc squared, and we know. So we know these 3 conditions. Okay. Using these 3, let's try to put it inside the expression for f and find out what happens. So effectively, of course, so effectively what we are saying is, to get this optimum, we are going to use some kind of matching circuit, right? First of all. So this is Ys. So let's say this is Is. So this is what we are saying. Okay. So we're going to optimize, put some matching network. So this is a noise matching network. Okay. We're going to do this. So let's find out the f in terms of the optimum point. Okay. So we know Gu, right? So we know Gu in terms of G opt. Okay. So let's put that in there first. Oh man. No, what's happening to cause this to come up, pop up? Okay. So what do we know? We know Gu is G opt squared minus Gc squared times Rn. Okay, so that's what we are putting that up here, and now Rn obviously becomes a common factor for this also. Okay, G opt squared minus Gc squared. Is that right? Plus, sorry. Okay. So G opt squared minus Gc squared plus, let's expand this out, plus Gc squared plus do oh sorry, forgot the GS here. Okay. So these two guys cancel each other out. Okay, and then what we'll do is we'll add and subtract, because we have gs squared g opt squared, we'll add and subtract 2 gs g opt, okay, to bring it to the form which we want, which is 1 plus. So we've added 2 gs g opt, we also have 2 gc gs, so we get this term, okay, plus is that okay? So all we did was add 2 gs gc 2 g of gs. What do you recognize about this term? Does anybody recognize this term? What is this? Let's go back a couple of pages. What is F min? Right? Sorry. Actually, small mistake here, because should of course include this also. Close the 1 also, right? Okay, so this portion is F min. Is that clear? You have a question? It's GC plus G opt. So you have a 2 GC GS here. Okay, so what we did was, let me put it in a different color. So we added two G of GS and we subtracted 2 G of GS. Okay, so the minus 2 G of GS went with G opt squared plus GS squared to give you this term. Okay, the other one plus 2 G of GS with plus 2 GC GS becomes 2 GC plus G opt times GS. Right, the mathematics is pretty straightforward. Okay, so why did we do this? What you notice is, obviously if GS is equal to G opt and BS equals B opt, F is F min, we already know that. Okay, but in case for other reasons you are not able to match exactly for noise, okay, what you find is these are actually, this is the equation of a circle if your GS and BS are variable. Okay, so if you plot this out, so you have an F min point, and depending on how closely you match, so this is your F min point, but you can draw circles, F min plus 0.1 dB, F min plus 0.2 dB and so on. Okay, okay, so you can draw what are called, these are called noise circles. So you may not be able to match exactly to F min, because what you'll notice in general is the condition for noise match is not the same as condition for power match. Okay, So there is definitely a trade-off between the two. Is that clear? Because the condition for power transfer is very simple. You just want to make GC, Ys equals Yn, right? Which is, sorry, not Ys equals Yn. You want to make GS equals Gn, right? And Bs equals minus Bn. So that's the condition for maximum power transfer. Whereas this condition is actually slightly different. Okay? And in fact, if you draw it on a Smith chart, turns out you will get these circles also. Okay?
These are twice figure, they are frequency dependent. This is for one particular frequency.
Sure, of course, definitely, because it is definitely okay. So it is a narrowband match in some sense, because the impedances you are trying to match with may vary over frequency also, right? If that is the case, yeah, it could be a frequency dependent match. Okay, so we understood that. Okay, so the other thing you can define is something called, yes, yes, we are going to do next class. So the reason we are doing all this, okay, because we looked at impedance match, power match first, then we are looking at noise match. Next class we will look at what are the two-port parameters for a MOSFET. Okay, so you can actually calculate any two-port you get. It's actually fairly easy, right? You find out the input referred noise, right? Input referred noise current and noise voltage. Then you automatically know what YC and other things are. Okay, if those two are not correlated, YC is 0. In general, we notice that if you remember for a MOSFET, your gate noise, you have what? Gate noise, flicker noise, thermal noise. Okay, so you take all these three at the input, refer it as voltage and current. Okay. And if you remember, I told you yesterday that your gate noise is actually correlated to your drain current noise. Okay, so what happens is you will find a correlation coefficient between the two, and therefore there will be in general for a MOSFET there will be a YC. Okay, so the way we will proceed to an LNA is we will find out the two-port parameters for an LNA. Okay, the two-port noise parameters. Okay, and then we will go from that to the match. So we'll find out how you can match it for power for 50 ohms. Okay. In general, when you do your design, you'll be doing somewhere between the two. It won't be an exact noise match. It won't be an exact power match. That's right. Okay. Some other general points. So you can also define something called a noise figure, which is your in dB first of all. Okay. Yes, in circles. Yeah, it should have been NF min. That's right. It should have been NF min. So it's yeah, you're right. Hey, we have another student in class. Okay. Okay. So this is your noise figure in dB. Okay. Then you can also define something called noise temperature. Okay, which is Tn. So this is defined as the increase in temperature of Ys, okay, which is the source impedance, to account for the noise generated by the two-port itself. Okay, and your reference is taken as room temperature, which is 290 K. Okay. So the definition of Tn is the noise temperature is the noise increase from your reference temperature. so that Ys accounts for the noise produced by the 2-port also. Okay. So if let's say you are able to increase the noise of increase the temperature of the system of the source. Okay. So now the noise from Ys will obviously increase. Okay. So you increase it by enough temperature such that you no longer have to use En and Ym. Those noises are incorporated inside Ys itself through an increase in temperature. Okay. So couple of other things to note. I think I didn't cover this when we did this earlier in class. Let's go back here to where we define noise factor. Okay. First of all, note that if you have a noiseless 2-port, noiseless network, F is 1, right? F is 1 and your noise figure is 0 dB. Okay, so that is something to know. Second thing is, obviously if F is 1, what is Tn? 0 Kelvin. Okay, and that also makes sense because if you don't have any noise at all, then yeah, the increase in temperature is 0. Okay, and the other thing to note is, if you use Tn, right, you'll find that if you use temperature, it actually noise temperature, it actually gives you slightly more resolution than if you just use noise factor or noise figure. Okay, because obviously because now you can if the noise increases by a little bit, right? If your noise factor increases by 0.01 or 0.02, your temperature may increase by 1 or 2 Kelvin. So it actually gives you a little bit more resolution. So you may use it when you are very close to your Fmin. Is that clear? Okay, let's stop here, and tomorrow we'll look at what happens when you have a cascade of if you have a cascaded system, what happens to the noise figure, and then we'll go on from there. Okay, we'll look at noise figure of some systems and circuits.